Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Green White Checker TV's broadcast of the Area 51 Gen 4 Cup Series. I'm Carl Henderson, and I'm here tonight with Chris Matthews. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. It's fun to be here in New York, which I honestly did not know they had this part of New York for this track. This is it's so surprising to me every time I have to look at it on a map.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think we all kind of think of New York as a certain thing, and then it's like, oh, there's this up there? Yeah. Filling in tonight for Boomer, and really looking forward to this race. We got some road course racing tonight at Watkins Glen, so let's take a look at our race info. I did get our race info correct this time, unlike I did Sunday night. We have 40 laps tonight. Track's nice and chilly. Outside temperature 72. Track temperature 66. Gonna get about 25 laps on fuel, so it should be interesting to see, one stopper, see when people time this. But I have to say, after I ran it a little bit myself, it's a little squirrely on the first few laps. Tires warm up, it gets a little better, but these guys are gonna have a handful tonight.
Yeah, that first lap's going to be very important to not only the pole sitter, but the rest of the people in the back. If you're in the back and you have a good first lap here, and you can get through the first turn, first couple of sections here, especially once you get through the uphill, you can make a lot of positions or you can lose a lot of positions. So I think this is going to be a very important first lap for most people, unlike the super speedways where you can kind of work your way from the back to the front over the course of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the old saying goes, you can't win on lap one, but I would say if there's any race you could win at on lap one, it would be a road course. You've really got to establish that track position early, especially when there's no cautions. Hopefully, no cautions tonight. Of course, there's always possibility of an admin thrown caution, but you're gonna have to try to establish yourself early.
Yeah, definitely. And if we do have a caution, I think the admins will throw it if there was a big pile up, almost a Big Apple style pile up, I would have to say, is my New York reference here. But this is a new track, new configuration. I think iRacing updated it, so there's a couple more off tracks, a little bit more asphalt in certain places that used to not be there anymore. I think they used to have a lot of gravel traps here on the old configuration here, so people really shouldn't be falling off too much if they do get into any trouble.
Oh, a little squirrely there, and while we're waiting, we've got our first qualifying lap, first few qualifying laps going on here. I'm going to do a little plug for one of our sponsors, 4D Racewear. They are the makers of ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D sim racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way that no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stunts. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. So we are following Gabe Butler here on his qualifying attempt. He is going to be entering. Honestly, I'm so poor with the turn numbers on road courses, but it's one of the higher number turns as he's entering the final turn here to get on the front stretch.
Yeah, so here I went through the bus stop, and then I forget what the hairpin is, but I just know it's a really slow hairpin. We've seen a bunch of races in the NASCAR, in real life NASCAR. A lot of races have been ended, and honestly, it's a great opportunistic turn right there. But right here, you come through the last section here as he begins one of the last straights right before the start finish. So it's a really tricky process here, this last section of the track.
Yeah, and honestly, we've seen some of the lap times start popping in here. No surprise at all to see Sebastian Marin sitting up top. But we've got Ryan Kelly up there, Kevin Freese. Austin Call was sitting up top for a little bit. Then you got Richard Bernius and Gabe Butler. It looks like there are a lot of guys who are not going to set a time. A little surprised by some of the guys like Josh Laston, Chris Bassini. I know they both, enjoy road courses, and Matt Wagner, who is a complete loser. Not surprised to see him not doing anything.
I think Matt likes to surprise people on the first start. Just start from the back and see how far he can get. I think Matt enjoys that little bit of adversity that he has to start with during most of these races. So he might have a good showing out here. I think he definitely has something probably in the tank.
Well, see, I heard the exact opposite. I heard that Matt enjoyed bowling. Basically, he likes to let all the cars qualify, and then in turn one, he'll just run into all of them.
Oh, that might be a case. He might have a little bit of a hung gear like Jimmy Johnson.
We'll have to see, but I think that is going to be all of our qualifying laps. We've got about another minute to go here. So let's talk pit stops. This is something talking briefly pre-race. You've got a 25 lap, let's say 24 lap fuel window. We've got a 40 lap race. Obviously, there's a little bit of wiggle room there when you pit. What would you be looking at?
So if I'm leading the race, I want to go as far of a distance as I can, and know that if I still have the pace and I still have a little bit of a couple second lead or a gap between second place, I definitely want to go as far as I can before I get pits. But if somehow I get into any trouble and I'm still one of the fastest cars by lapping standards, I might want to come in right at that 24 mark and end up trying to just work my way through the pack with some old tires if I know I have the pace. So it's gonna be a little bit different, a little bit interesting. I think there's gonna be a little bit about a 6 lap difference in these guys wanting to pit or pit late or pit early. So it's gonna be very, very different, very interesting here.
Well, we see the cars starting to pop in here. So why don't we take a look at our starting grid? In first, we have Sebastian Marin, and in second, Ryan Kelly. Third is Kevin Freese, and fourth, Austin Call. Fifth is Steve Korosek, and sixth, Gabe Butler. Seventh is Richard Bernius, and eighth, Matt Wagner. Ninth is Chris Matthews, and 10th, Chris Bassini. 11th, Josh Laston, and in 12th, James Ledford. And in 13th, we have Eric Laurie. Also, I called you out there as being in it, and you're obviously not in it. You messed me up.
I might be able to jump in and get a couple spots if people wreck on lap one.
Yeah, just miss the start of the race and go out there, run one lap after the inevitable wreck in turn one, and there you go. You gain some positions.
Yeah, I might only have to walk 100 feet, so you never know.
Well, obviously we're certainly hoping that this race will be nice and clean. Obviously, you're going to have some off tracks today. Even the best drivers, I think, will occasionally put some wheels on the grass at some point. But hopefully, we won't have a whole lot of beating and banging, and the guys will get through. Everyone will be able to finish this race at the very least.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be too many real off tracks where the cars get damaged unless they absolutely just blow a corner. There's a lot of wide spaces over here, so you might see some people miss the bus stop, or you might see people miss turn one. But there's a lot of asphalt and a lot of time to still have braking zones, I guess, for these guys. So we'll see what happens here on this first lap as we're getting ready to have our pace lap started.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I think the scariest part and the biggest potential for damage here is in the S's, or more accurately, the exit of the S's, because with the elevation change there, it is really easy to get a little squirrely as you're getting on the throttle. Like, I feel like in a lot of cars, I mess up hitting the brakes. Not what is happening there.
Oh, I'm already seeing, there's already some trouble on the speedway. So we don't need necessarily need to be green right now.
Yeah, Kevin Freese ran into the back of the 23 of Sebastian Marin teammates. Not quite sure what happened there. But yeah, I was saying the S is here. We're going into them right now. We'll cut over to a roll bar camera here, and
not too sure. That was weird.
But we got a little bit of an elevation change here, you can see, and you start getting a little loose right here, like right there as it starts to change, and it is super easy to hit one of those walls because there is not a lot of room. Really easy because your car is a lot of times going to want to go to the right side, and you try to overcorrect and you go to the left side. So really easy to get in trouble there.
Yeah, definitely potential for getting in trouble. You want to make sure you have your braking zones kind of in lock. I mean, you can brake a little bit harder or just brake earlier and try to be safe around this point. But I think the real contentious point here is that through the bus stop, if two cars are trying to pass each other, sometimes 2 into 1 doesn't necessarily go. Somebody's going to definitely have to give up their spot. But we will see some racing, I think, through that bus stop. That's a very good passing zone, but definitely takes a little bit of give and take.
Well, yeah, I agree, and what I was thinking of earlier, and I didn't really get to get it out because I was surprised by the weirdness on the start. Is I was surprised with these cars, like You know, a lot of cars are really easy to lose it when you're braking, but these cars have so much horsepower that even like right through here, completely straight, there were times I was spinning my wheels on a complete straightaway just because there's just so much torque in these cars. So, you know, that's something to watch out for, not only for the risk of wrecking the car, but also of, you know, potentially wearing out your rear tires.
Yeah, definitely, and that's definitely going to show over the course of the time, course of this race, where you know we might have somebody just burn off their tires. So they might be good up front, but they might be bad very on the late start. So, but we're getting ready to go green here.
Yep, the pace car is in, and they are off. Sebastian.
Yeah, I completely forgot that the pace car went to the right. You know, we're used to them going to the left, but here to go into turn one as the 23 car gets a really good shot as he's going on the inside, and everyone else going by 2x2. Looks like everyone's getting through clean.
Yeah, that was a lot better than I was expecting, to be honest. And I mean, these guys are great, so you know I should have expected more. But we're gonna have to see here. I'm gonna see if anybody has any issues through this through the S's here, because again, they can be tricky. They were my Achilles heel when I was running some laps earlier. Oh, Kevin Priest with some issues.
Yeah, just a little bit in the wall. I think he's fine. He just has to get his speed back up, but I think he'll be okay by the end of this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I obviously this isn't a aero-dependent track. I think you know you could have a little bit of damage and not have to come in take a fast repair or anything. But hey,
yeah, just a little bit of damage. But I see them going on the straight. They're using everything on the track right now. Anything that's black, they're definitely using it on the track. So I think that's Ryan Kelly that's out front right now.
not. I think.
No, Sebastian Merritt, he's waiting on. Oh my gosh, never mind. It's been so long. He has such a gap.
Sebastian Merritt's already worked out such a gap. But hey, I'm gonna call out one guy here, Chris Bassini. I switch over to him. Oh, actually, I'm with him. But up 5 spots since the start of the race, moving up. Also, Josh Laston up 3 spots, looking really good, and Steve Karasek up 2 spots. So. Got some movers through the field. Of course, some of them taking advantage of Kevin Priest's unfortunate incident there earlier. Of course, he's down 7 spots right now.
Yeah, so right now this is single file, and then what these guys want to do is start running their qualifying times or their qualifying setups, where they want to get through the track as fast as they can and see if they can find their advantages and disadvantages on the track. So these guys are still close enough to be racing each other, but I think they're going to start searching for different lines to figure out how to beat one person or another.
Yeah, you know, and of course, the moment you start, it's always a risk-reward type thing, right? Because you start searching, you could lose time. So a lot of times the guys who you see just kind of steadfastly commit, it works out for them. Sometimes it doesn't. But we're on board here with Steve Karasek running in 3rd position. Right now, looks like he's holding pace with Ryan Kelly in 2nd.
Yeah, he's trying to chase down Ryan Kelly, so you know the objective for him right now is to not push it too hard to where he's going to make a mistake, because the person right behind him, Austin Call, is almost on his gearbox as it seems. So he's going to be real close, and the person behind him is Chris Bassini. So he's moved up quite a few spots. So these guys right now, they're still in a very close battle, so they just don't want to mess up as they come through the S's, which is really going to be squirrely for them. Yep,
you know, no issues when he's got a little bit there, but definitely looks better than when I was doing it. And I'm going to cut back to Austin Call, what you were mentioning here. Gained a little bit entering the bus stop. It's pretty clear he was, you know, probably trying to outbrake Steve Karasek a little bit. And we'll have to see, you know, if that might pay out for him, as he's obviously much closer here to the inside of the corner. And I thought maybe he might be able to gain a little bit out of it, but it seems he lost quite a bit.
Yeah, so Austin Call, definitely you can use that apron as he's coming into the next turn, and he's definitely diving his car a little bit deeper than I would say Steven is, but you can tell right now that these guys are still searching for the fastest line. So before you even be able to make a pass, you got to figure out if you can make it cleanly. That's the main thing here. So Austin Call is definitely gonna have to figure out where he wants to make this pass if he gets the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, maybe the late braking was the best strategy when he was on track by himself, but when you get someone in front of you, that can be a little tricky, and, you know, you might have to try to back up his corners a little bit, get a little more on corner exit.
Yeah, definitely, and if he pushes a little bit too hard and takes both cars out, that just kind of leaves guys like Ryan Kelly and even Sebastian Marin freely to do whatever they want with their pit strategy because it has such a big advantage. So you don't want to let these guys that are in the lead or 1 and 2 to have any real ruling over you. So you want to just make sure that you kind of ride your ride and hopefully they make a mistake before you make one.
Well, you're talking about Sebastian Marin being able to make his own decisions. I think he's already done that. We're looking at Sebastian Marin right now. He is currently 8 seconds ahead of second place. Just to show you what a gap that is, we're looking at Sebastian. Now, Ryan Kelly, I mean, you can't the camera moves so fast, you can't even tell what's going on. But basically, the entire front stretch, Sebastian Marin is currently ahead. I'll be honest, I knew he was a great oval racer. I wasn't expecting, I didn't know he was this good of a road racer as well.
Yeah, no, I think while we were talking about that there, Austin Call actually did get by Steven Korosek. So I think Steven had a little bit of a bobble through that long hairpin, and now he's behind Austin Call. So good advantage, good swap right there. But that's how quick it can happen, folks.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that. As that's a pretty major pass for position. As we see Austin Call there. Is he just going to outbrake him, I'm guessing? That's what it's looking like it's going to happen. He just sticks his nose down on the inside there. And yeah, I mean, he's already got the position established there. And Steve's obviously giving him plenty of room. And that's just a clean pass right there.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for Steven, if he wants to get back, around him, is going to be just having a little bit of patience and just try and run a little bit better laps and hopefully save your rear tires, since we know that these guys have a lot of horsepower in these cars. Hopefully he can play the tire advantage and try to get back around him. But I think this is going to be the battle, the battle that we're going to be seeing quite a bit here, is these two right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I'm looking at the laps right now, and obviously, being a road course, they're going to take a little bit longer, get around the track, but look, we're already gonna have to start thinking about green flag stops. Lap 14. I got that wrong. It's 16. Lap 16 is about when pit windows should open. And honestly, I think you look at some of these guys like bunched up, like Austin Call and Steve Korosek, Chris Passini, Ryan Kelly. I think if you're someone like Passini or Korosek, you might be thinking about coming a little bit earlier because you've got these guys in front of you, perhaps interfering with your ability to run, the exact pace you want.
Yeah, obviously Sebastian Marin is kind of in his own zip code right now, but if you're in this like top 3, top 4 kind of battle, you might want to go, one lap longer, or you might want to pit earlier. We got to figure out which the undercut or the overcut advantage is going to be. So I think honestly, if these guys get to lap 20, that's when we're really going to see a decision made if they want to go long or short.
Yeah, honestly, I'll be honest. You're talking, a lap early, lap later. If I'm someone like, I'm looking at Austin Call right now. We've seen that he likes to drive it in deeper, and obviously your ability to drive it in deeper is affected by someone you have in front of you. If I'm him, I'm possibly coming at like 17, 18 maybe. Just so that I could come back out. Sure, I'll have, slightly more worn tires later, but that way I can run the race I want to later on in the race. And hey, we've got Kevin Freese on pit road right now. I think he may have had some issues.
Yeah, he might have had issues early on in this race, but looking, going on what you were saying, we have guys kind of like Steven Korosek who lost the position, but he's still hanging on with these guys. But if he pushes the car any harder and he starts losing spots, he might want to come in early just to try to save some tires as well. So that's a very good point that you made there.
Yeah, and it's one of those things you could, if I'm thinking about coming in early, right now I'm going to be trying to run it as hard as I can. Use those tires up while you've got them. Come back out on that second stunt and take care of them a little better. But we'll have to see. I think you'll see some people try to take it early, and I think you'll see some people try to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for Ryan right now, he's running second, but he kind of has to think about himself as running as first place in P1 right now, where he's kind of battling for his lead. So he's holding up this line right now. There's still about it's a 4-car battle. We have I think that is Chris Passini sitting there around 5th place. So he kind of has to think about this as how many spots can he possibly lose if he has a bad pit stop or a bad out lap or in the lap if he decides to. So he has kind of had to think about this as if he was the leader and racing for the lead.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have to consider, I mean, obviously, some of these guys may be running software that'll tell them, hey, if you pit, this will be where you likely come out. That's obviously valuable information because if you're someone like Sebastian Marin, the last thing you want to do is, pit too early and then end up, getting stuck behind someone with older tires a lap down. These guys have some choices to make.
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit of a shout out to Matt. I think Matt started near the back, and now he's up to, I want to say, 7th or 6th position. I think he's up to 7th. So, he hasn't bulldozed the field. He hasn't gone bowling yet, but he's still looking for a spare.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Wagner up 1 spot since the start of the race, but I'm not going to say anything positive about him. Or Laston. I don't like either of them.
I heard some tires screeching very, very shortly over there, somewhere around the track. I think that was possibly Gabe Butler screeching around the track. But we're doing pretty well here at this race. Everyone still seems to be single file, and we're just moving along through.
Yeah, everyone's looking really clean right now.
Carl, you muted?
I don't think I am. I am not muted on the broadcast, but I was muted on Discord.
Oh.
that
okay.
Explains that. So we're currently lap 10. Possibly expecting some stops here in 6 laps or so. But look, man of the race right now, Sebastian Marin, already hitting some lap traffic here with his teammate Kevin Fries. Gonna have to see how polite they are to each other.
Yeah, I think Kevin Fries will, just kind of pull over for his teammate real quick. He might give him a little bit of a hard time since he has such an advantage of a lead right now. But we never know. These guys might, Kevin he had to stop a little bit early, so he might not be in the best of moods as they had a little close encounter right there. So, he passed him right back. It's a little bit of racing time.
Yeah,
having fun.
Kevin fighting back there. Obviously Kevin's on slightly fresher tires, so you'd think he has that advantage. I'm curious what that race chat is like right now.
Oh, definitely. Carl, I have a question for you. Not sure how long you've been watching NASCAR, but between these 2 paint schemes, obviously they're both Jimmy Johnsons.
Yeah.
Which one have you enjoyed the most? If you had to watch, back in time.
Oh man, I love the gray and black scheme. I've always loved that one, and I'm not even the biggest Jimmy Johnson fan in the world. He's grown on me in the past few years. That seems to happen every time a driver retires. I did the same thing with Jeff Gordon, but I don't know, something about that gray and black scheme there. I love that look.
I definitely have to agree with you. I think something definitely turned on me when I wasn't the biggest Jimmy Johnson fan, but I think when I saw that paint scheme, I was like, "That's a car that's definitely fast." It looked the part. But yeah, this is a very close battle for a. Oh, he spins his teammate. Oh, that's exciting!
What?
Wow.
And Sebastian still has a almost 17-second lead.
Wow, you'll never get that in F1.
That was. Well, they're giving us some entertainment, if nothing else. And I said almost a 17-second lead. It has been cut to 10 seconds.
And they're still going at it.
Wow.
Oh, just another bump. These guys are having fun tonight.
Yeah.
That's what you can do with a 17-second lead.
Yeah, there's a little bit of margin of error there. These guys having a good time. Hey, I want to go back and look at something because he would do it to me. But we're not going to go back yet because this battle is still going. I keep thinking it might be over, and then all of a sudden these guys are like, oh, we'll get side by side again.
Yeah, I kind of wish Kevin Fries never wrecked this car to begin with or had any trouble. But yeah, this would have been a fun little battle for the lead had this been a lap car and another lap car.
Yeah, no kidding. They're racing hard with each other. See if he's gonna try anything here. No, it's almost like he's. I don't say he's okay with being behind his teammate here. Obviously, he is still far ahead, but That gap seems to be getting just a little bit more narrow. It jumped back up 10 seconds. It was briefly under 10. Yeah, but I'm sure at this point it's a lot just bragging rights.
Yeah, definitely. If you know that you had the chance to beat your teammate, but you obviously ran into some adversity or some obstacles, it's kind of one of those things that you can get a moral victory out of it.
Yeah, but you got to be careful not to actually full-on ruin your teammate's chance either.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I've ever seen it pass around the outside. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what these guys are doing right now. This is very entertaining.
yeah, it's almost like they're dancing. Like, I'm starting to wonder if this is rehearsed or something. But it's cool to watch. They are putting on a show.
Yeah, these guys definitely giving them money's worth. This would have been something I would have loved to see in person if I had the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, two teammates racing, one of them a lap down.
Oh yeah, this would have been great.
Yeah, no, this is the sort of thing you see. Mr. Hendrick have to carry his drivers to the hauler after the race and get them in line.
Yeah, this is definitely after the race where they pull they're pulling the driver's ears back to the hauler. Yeah, that would definitely be a very long talking to before the sun goes down.
But I'll tell you what's impressive here to me is, Kevin Freese did have fresher tires there for a bit. And I mean, obviously still does. But Seabass is starting to pull away now. So I don't know if maybe Kevin just used his stuff up. But Sebastian absolutely seems to be the guy to beat.
Yeah, I think he just was able to get around that corner on the outside, and I think he just kind of decided to let him go. They had enough fun that gap was coming down pretty significantly. I know it's still 10 seconds, which is quite a bit of time, but that might give him a better advantage on the out lap when these guys have to start passing Kevin Freese again.
Yep, so I'm going to go back to what I was talking about earlier. This is a few laps ago. Josh Laston, crash.
Oh, no.
Honestly, I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like he's on the front stretch here. Did it happen entering turn 1? Oh, he's going to love that I'm doing this, too. There was no reason for it. This is completely, this is just mean. But again, he would do it to me. So, it definitely started recording it early. Try to go real time here. Oh, wow! Happened under braking. But that's not a problem. No problem there. I was hoping it would be something more dramatic. Well, that's disappointing.
I definitely give all these drivers credit because I can almost tell you right now that I don't think I would have made it about one lap. I probably would have gassed it too much. Probably went into one of the walls during the S's. So very tricky track. Obviously, we run it every single year during the NIS or any type of NASCAR version. But between that and some of the road versions or the road endurance racing, this track gets ran pretty much on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, this is without a doubt my favorite road course. I love this track. It's challenging, especially in this car. Not a lot of downforce. Chris Bassini with some issues. I'm not sure. Oh, Chris Bassini may have lost connection. Oh, no.
He was running so well, too.
He was, and I can guarantee you he is cursing up a storm right now because he has had some issues in the past. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Chris Bassini possibly out of the race, though. But your benefactor right now, one of the benefactors, Matt Wagner, up 3 spots, running in 5th. Yeah.
Top 5 starting from the back, but I'm looking at a guy like Austin Cole right now. He's sitting still right behind or up, Ryan Kelly's gearbox, just waiting, just trying to find a moment of opportunity. And I can tell you from experience, if you sit there for a couple of laps and you just can never get a good run with somebody, it definitely frustrates you. You try a little bit harder, and then hopefully you try not to make a mistake. But I can tell him right now, he's just right there, still just looking for opportunity.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of driver you are. I mean, this can also be viewed as a situation where it's like, okay, I'm behind him. I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to kind of conserve a little bit. There's not a ton of tire wear here tonight. But still, I mean, looking at the lap times, everyone is at least a second off their fastest lap. So we've got about 1 second of fall off over the course of the race. And I don't know. If I'm Austin Call right now, I am really thinking hard about short pitting here. If he truly thinks he's faster.
Definitely, and you can tell like these cars are they have turns that they have to complete, but they have pretty long straights to where they can get a little bit of a draft advantage. So these guys, he's kind of looking for ways where he can get a little bit of draft, get a little bit closer, and since these cars don't need so much aerodynamic help, you can run pretty close to these cars and not have such a downwash like the F1 cars or even open wheel cars that you see usually run on this. So the closer he gets, I think the better he'll figure out how to get right around him.
Yeah, and of course, the moment I go in car with him, he falls back a little bit, but still keeping that gap under a second. As you mentioned, I mean, there are some straights here, so the draft could come into play a little bit, especially as we exit the S's here. You're gonna have an opportunity to pull up on some guys here, but you've got to try to keep it within a second or closer if you can. As we see a little bit of a bobble out of Ryan Kelly there, and that's going to close the gap a bit.
Yeah, I think right where Austin Cole gets his advantage is right after the bus stop. I think he gets a really good couple of runs out of this section right here.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get through the start-finish line, it seems like Ryan Kelly can kind of pull advantage again. But they're getting ready to get up to the lap car of Kevin Freeze. So this is going to be real interesting these next couple of 2 laps.
Well, and that's another time you may want to consider pitting is, obviously Kevin Freeze isn't your normal lap car. He's, a very fast driver. Just had some.
And he got out the way.
Yeah, that's probably the right call. But, a lot of times if you do have a lap car that is quite a bit slower, rather than try to get around them, if they're going to fight for position, just go in and pit then.
Yeah, definitely. And we're coming up on lap 18 right now, I believe that we're on. And going with what you're saying, I think you're a good crew chief for Austin Call right now. I think if you tell him to come in, I think he can get that good advantage to where he can be able to get good tires, fresh tires, and stay out in front of Ryan Kelly on the cycle here. So that might be the advantage for him. I think he's going to try to do that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things on paper, you want to split it down the middle. You want to do 20 and you want to do 20. Because that's kind of maximizing, your overall. So, Austin Call getting in those in.
Well, he's right there, side by side, a little bit in the corner. Side by side, he's going to be able to make that advantage. Right now is right when I would pit. I would pit right now if I was Austin Call, so I wouldn't have to deal with this again.
Yes and no, because we know that this part of the track that he's coming into is not his best part. So perhaps you kind of hang around a little bit and force Ryan Kelly to go a little bit slower. Yeah, I'm not sure, but hey, we got our first taker on pit road, Josh Lastinen. He was running, I think, 7th right before that, so currently in 9th. We'll have to see where it cycles out, but first taker on pit road. We'll have to see if anybody else comes in this next lap.
Yeah, he'll definitely have to look at the pit delta here from what his old tires are doing versus his new tires. So we'll see the advantage there. But I think I was fighting for Austin Cole. Now that he's gotten in front and he has been quote unquote in a faster car since he was chasing down Ryan Kelly, I would kind of want to pit now just so I can get my pit out the way. And since I know that I can get my pit out the way and I'm supposedly going to be faster, it would force Ryan Kelly to go in right after I go. So, him having the speed advantage that we're assuming that he has a speed advantage, he can get his pit done out the way and not have to worry about having to pass him again.
Yeah, there are a lot of different approaches to take to this. I think what you're saying there is not a bad idea. But we'll have to see. Still no takers. I think there's a lot of guys who are just saying, you know what, let's just split it in half.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of a gap advantage, I think. So, seems like, there goes Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly's in.
Yep, that is probably the right call for him. On a road course especially, it's going to be a lot easier to make passes on pit road. So, yeah, if he can gain a second on pit road, fresh tires, might as well do it. As we see Kevin Freeze coming in again, obviously had to stop earlier, but I imagine probably put some pressure on those tires when he was racing his teammate.
Yeah, I think he's getting ready for round 2 of that fight again. As soon as he comes out, I think that's where he's going to fall out again. So we might have another leader in a lap car wreck. That was actually pretty exciting. But Austin Cole is catching a lap car who's getting out of the way for him. So that's a little bit of a nice advantage that he's going to have. So I'm going to assume Austin Cole is probably going to come in probably this lap, if not the next. I think it's going to be lap 20. So these guys have definitely already gone halfway.
Yeah, and this, question marks around, like, at an oval. Oh, Sebastian Marin, our leader, is in. So now I think some guys are going to have to think about, do I stay out even if I wanted to come in and try to get that lap led? Austin Call coming in as well, though. Let's see if Steve Korosek comes in. He's coming in. I'm really surprised nobody's staying out trying to get that lap led. See if Wags might be too far back to make that happen. Sebastian may be able to get out before he could actually lead a lap. So,
yeah, Sebastian, I think, had a 20-second advantage, I think, by the time that Austin Call was able to come in. And that's, we run about a minute 25, minute 14, at its worst, a minute 14 lap. So I think Sebastian was running like 110. So, for him to have at least a quarter of the track already covered, that's a big advantage for a 20-second lead.
Yeah, and I am genuinely surprised we didn't see some of those guys a little bit closer. Go ahead and stay out, get those bonus points. But at the same time, you're trying to come out and get the best finish you can, and they're running their races.
So we talked about it a little bit, and it seemed like because Ryan Kelly went in before Austin Call, as he was behind him, Ryan Kelly has retaken the second place lead over Austin Call. So I think that would have been Austin's advantage if he came in a little bit earlier, but they're really close by once again. So we'll see if Austin can chase him down and find another advantage, and hopefully get another mistake out of Ryan Kelly if he did last time.
Yeah, you convinced me on your approach there. I agree. I think Austin Call should have tried to pit before Ryan Kelly had an opportunity, but. That being said, we saw that Austin Call had an advantage on the longer run previous stunt, and he has fresher tires, and he's not far back at all. So I think Austin Call is going to be able to compete for this position, as we see Gabe Butler back there come in, and a few guys in, James Ledford, Richard Bernius, so. I believe that the only person who is not, looks like a couple people that have not pitted. Matt Wagner has not pitted. Eric Laurie has not pitted. So after those guys pit, we will have gone through all of our pit stops.
Yeah, I think the long run with these guys might not play too much in their favor, but they are kind of hoping for people to be on new tires and kind of have a little bit of screw-ups to be able to have a good run here. As Ryan Kelly ran through the grass and had a long shot around this sweeper here. So Austin Call is right back on his rear bumper. I think the rear bumper cam is going to be taken off as close as they were as they're going side by side into one of the last couple of corners here. So this might be an advantage for Austin Call if he decides to make a stick around the outside, which Ryan Kelly just decided to give it up. So Austin Call able to pit late and get his spot back.
Yeah, and I think that ended up working out for him. I'm not sure if it was just putting some pressure on Ryan Kelly or just typical mistake, but it's going to happen at every track. But looking good there for Austin Call. I would think with the slightly fresher tires and the better long run speed we saw the first stint, if he can continue that, he should be in good shape.
Yeah, and these guys, looking at all these cars, as soon as they get on these straights and they have to bang through the gears going, upshifting. You just see these cars get squirrely time after time, especially like right after the S and the car is a little bit light on its feet. It's amazing that no one has really kind of just jumped it right after the start of pressing on the gas. So big advantage to these guys. These guys definitely practice hard enough to keep the car on the track. I certainly would have been jumped after probably the first lap because I would have over-reffed this. Yeah,
the horsepower in these cars is insane. I was not expecting it. When I was running practice laps, I was honestly, especially exiting the S's, I was short shifting just because it was so easy otherwise to just start spinning your wheels, even on the straightaway. So I was short shifting just to try to keep the car under control.
Yeah, it's amazing that just a little bit of shifting, which I think that's what somebody like Sebastian Marin. I think he's just being very light on the throttle and probably just shifting, just like you were saying, and he's able to get that advantage. And I think he just feels one with the road right now, where he's able to just put his car wherever he wants and have a nice little run as he's catching up to, I think, Josh Laston.
Yeah.
So hopefully Josh, kind of sees him in the back mirror. I think he's going to run wide, just a little bit wide here, just to get around the sweeper. But it's kind of a blind corner. You don't know what you're going to catch on the other end as soon as you get to the straight here. But good advantage on him, and Sebastian Marin's right by another lap car.
Well, Josh Laston, a pro at getting lapped, handles that in a professional manner. I do want to point out that this past lap, the previous one, Sebastian Marin ran his fastest lap of the race. His fastest lap of the race is a second and a half faster than the second fastest lap of the race. Just laying down a blistering pace.
That man might be in a Red Bull car. We just don't know it.
Yeah, it's been an unreal, we've seen it all season, Sebastian Marin really laying down, laying the smack down, but tonight is something else. This is incredible what we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, and having a race like this, we don't get as much of attendance as we would like as a series. But for the people that are here, it's a great advantage for them to move up in points. I know Matt has had a couple wrecks throughout the season, so a top 5 where he's running right now be a great showing out for him. And he's not necessarily so far from everybody. I think there's a couple cars on track that he could possibly catch if he just ups his times just a little bit. So these track like this, not everyone wants to run if they don't necessarily feel comfortable with it, but it's a great opportunity for those who do participate.
Yeah, and I do want to encourage people, if you're someone that runs regularly in this series, and you're not running tonight and you're watching, I would encourage you to come out next time we run a road course. Even if you don't run that well, a lot of times with these things, just keeping it on the track is enough to get a decent finish. And it can be a lot of fun. I enjoy racing road courses. I didn't like it at first. I would encourage everyone to give it a shot, like a real shot if you haven't.
Yeah, I would say if you can drive these cars on a road course, if you drive any NASCAR on a road course, I think you would do well in the actual road series. It's a whole different car that you have to learn, especially if you're doing like a Mazda or even the L&P cars. But if you could run something like this and understand the dynamics of the way that the car moves around, I think you have a good shot of learning how to be a road course racer, which that happened to me. I wasn't necessarily a road course guy. I would watch it on TV, but whenever I got on iRacing, I kind of stayed away from it. And eventually, I started doing the NASCAR, series with some of these road courses, and eventually, I got a little bit better. I'm still slow, but it gave me more confidence to try something that actually was, meant for road racing.
Oh yeah, I'm not in any way going to say that I'm fast. Just basing on best lap times, I'd probably be running 9th, 10th right now, somewhere in that area. So, no way am I fast either, but I enjoy doing it. Just, calling out, you might enjoy it. Give it a shot if you haven't. And especially in these cars, I think, honestly, you can put this car on just about any track, and I think it's a blast.
Definitely. And we see Ryan Kelly still with Austin Cole. These guys haven't gotten away from each other too much. I think Steve Korsak, I think he came in a little bit earlier than these other guys, so he's a little bit far away, but as long as he can keep his lap times down a little bit and start getting a couple tenths here and there, he'll be right back in this battle for second.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly, Austin Cole have consistently been the two tightest on the track, consistently within 1 second of each other. Just about everyone else right now, probably our second closest battle is Gabe Butler, who is, I think, 6 seconds behind Josh Laston. But that might be about to get closer because I see Josh Laston crashed. Did Laston? Oh, Laston reset back to the pits. What happened?
Oh, no. He might have had another off track or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't think we have a penalty limit on off tracks tonight. It doesn't seem like the move there.
Oh, just lost it. Hit the wall. Yep, okay.
And I think that's what we were talking about by keeping your car clean, and you'll be able to gain spots at some point in time on this race.
Yep, and I had said pre-race before even the broadcast, I had said I was predicting Josh Laston to go out on lap 5. But hey, he made it further than I expected. Um,
Yeah, it
so
just looked like he grabbed the gear and then just stuck in the gas, and obviously with the power that this car has, unreal advantage. So it's a bad spin, I would say, just a bad power grab. I want to say. So obviously he crashed on the straight, but I think he has a fast repair to get if he doesn't have a tow that he has to do.
I imagine he has the tow to get through first, and I imagine he just did that to try to get out of the way. Looking here, looking at lap times, I have to say I cannot say enough good things about Sebastian Marin here, because he has been laying down these blistering laps, and you would think, oh, well, he must be wearing his tires out. He is still consistently laying down the fastest laps of anyone on the track. This last lap, he was more than a second faster than the second fastest lap. And compared to most of the field, a second and a half. I mean, he is just insane right now, having no issues with his track at all.
Yeah, and if you're, we have the camera on him right now, but you can still see that when he's in the gas, he's still slipping. This car's still slipping and sliding. It's not 100% perfect. This is not a Formula One car. He's still having to drive this thing around the track. So even though that he has to be one of the fastest laps and by a good margin, he's still having to drive this thing for all it's all it's worth.
Yeah, I'm really curious what this would have been like tonight with a warmer track. I think you would have had quite a few more incidents, but I think tire wear may have come a little bit more into the equation. And obviously, I think that Sebastian is driving to the track, so I think he would have adjusted his driving style had that been the case. But just curious, if he would have been as good at saving his tires as he is laying down blistering laps. But he did not have the fastest lap this last time. That goes to Austin Call, who was almost a second faster. So Austin Call narrows that 24-second advantage of Sebastian by 1 second.
Yeah, we're approaching 10 laps to go, which in normal NASCAR terms, any oval track that we have, this is usually where the fans start standing up and they're getting ready to watch the ending of this race, because a lot of times they're so short, they're about 30 seconds, depending on what track that you're at. But we still have a minute and minute 10, minute 12 seconds. That's what the lap time here is. So the fans won't be standing up yet, but we are under 10 to go.
Yeah, we've got 25% of the race remaining, so there's still a lot that can happen. I'm looking for a battle right now. Really, Ryan Kelly has fallen back from Austin Call here. I'm trying. Let's go back. Let's follow along with James Ledford a little bit. It's not really close to anybody right now, but we don't focus on James a ton. So let's take a look here and see what his racing line's like. Running that nationwide scheme there.
Yeah, very good scheme, very classic scheme too. So another thing I love about these cars is I don't think we've seen. I feel like there was a nationwide paint scheme for these cars back in the day, but even if there wasn't, it's a really good transfer over to this Gen 4 car, this Harker car that we have.
Yeah, I honestly I think one of my favorite things to do with paint schemes, because I'm not very good at like raw creation, but I can usually do a pretty good job of creating, like mocking off of something. And for a league that I was involved as an admin in a few years back, a couple of years ago, whenever it was, I had the idea we were running the 87s, and I said, hey, how about we do a throw forward race where, they do the throwback races. We'll do one where, we run paint schemes that are newer than the 87s, like that would never ran on these cars, that, just be something a little bit different, and had a good time with it. And if this is a newer scheme running on this car, I don't recognize it. But I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I've sometimes people go on websites like J Skis and they watch up old schemes that are from their childhood and stuff like that. But I do like going on Twitter, and I think there's a couple of designers that do a couple of crossover creations or concept arts. But I like seeing some of the newer paint schemes on some of these Gen 4 cars and seeing what people can do with. I'm still kind of on the fence about the numbers moving, but some people can make it work. Some paint schemes have been able to make it look a little bit nicer than others, and some are absolutely horrendous and hideous. But it's always nice to see how good this car and the way that people paint them is.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, in a lot of ways, these cars are more challenging to paint than some of the others, like because of how asymmetrical they are. They're not as challenging, like for instance, like the next gen car. It's very challenging because of all the crap that's on the hood. But these cars can also be very tricky because you look in your design tool, whatever it is, and you think, oh, I've got this thing lined up on the hood, and then you put it on the car. It's like that's not lined up at all because it's just you can look at it here. It's so warped.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if we were to have a panel of people, poll and figure out, are the schemes that we see today are a little bit better than the ones of past. If we put those two side by side, I would take the early 2000s in a heartbeat over what we have today. Even though the designers have some pretty creative and artistic things, but it seems like the throwbacks have kind of fallen off a little bit. But when you look at some of these old cars right now, these old 2000s cars, and you remember like Ricky Craven and Dale Jr. and some of these guys, the paint schemes are just iconic and just seems like they just fit with the time and the era.
Yeah, it's some of that I have to wonder if it's a question of whether or not the scheme is better or not, or if it's a case where back then you almost ran the same scheme almost every race, and then you would switch it up every now and then for something special. But I feel like these days you'll see drivers over a course of a season run 20 different schemes, and so it's hard to really kind of get that iconic feel.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at like a team like Joe Gibbs, I think they take a couple of sponsors and just swap them between drivers. There's been times where I've seen the classic Interstate Batteries paint scheme on the 20, the 18, and the 19, and I've been confused, all the time. Same thing with the DeWalt sponsorship, which I know Gael Brooks. I'm sure he's watching here. We've seen some of those paint schemes just kind of get swapped in between, different drivers and different, teams. And so a little bit confusing. I miss the old Nationwide cars where you used to have the GameStop. That was kind of one of the only times I would like to see a different scheme on the same car.
Yep. So we're talking paint schemes here. Anybody out there watching tonight, if you get a favorite paint scheme over time, let us know. We're curious. I have a number. I think Tony Stewart's Home Depot schemes, there have been a whole lot of them that I've loved. What about you? What are some schemes you've liked?
Ooh, I think some of my favorite schemes came from drivers that I wasn't necessarily rooting for, to be honest with you. And I think I liked Gordon's Pepsi scheme at some points and times. Oh man, there's a bunch of them. I think anytime I've seen the Haviland car, I think any of those schemes have been good. The ones that Ricky Rudd used to run. There's been some great schemes. Mark Martin was probably my favorite driver growing up, so I used to love every single scheme that he had, even though I didn't necessarily know what all of them were. I was probably a little bit too young. But I definitely liked all the Mark Martin schemes. But I could definitely tell you that I probably spent a couple days just looking at schemes, when I'm bored, and it definitely gives me that nostalgic feeling.
Well, I currently in this league, I run a Haviland scheme, and last year I was running a Mark Martin Valvoline scheme, one of the swoop designs. So, really love both of those.
Yeah, I think it was just a different time back then. Just the schemes definitely, hooked me as a kid watching NASCAR. And man, I could probably name the driver, I could name the scheme.
Yeah,
and, that's how great it was. And even drivers that I would say not a lot of people remember. Guys like Stacy Compton. I would remember what they would drive if I had to look at the car. I'd be like, I know who drives that car. And I would see like the 14 or something like that. So. Playing starting off with the old NR2K3, which I think a lot of people started off with. Looking at all those schemes, it's definitely a throwback here. So looking at these cars, I know we have the Papyrus. I think that's what Ryan Kelly has. Even that car, that's a fictional paint scheme, but that's a very classic and iconic one because I think anyone that played, in our 2K3, I think that's one of the first cars that they, drove whenever they didn't want to be a certain driver.
Hey, well, I'm pulling it up here. We actually have something resembling a battle right now as Richard Burney is gaining some ground on James Ledford. Only a half-second back here as we're looking at the end car of Richard Burney is.
Ooh, yeah, we are. And he's closing it fast. I think he found another gear there. I think he has a fifth.
Yeah, or he just like, oh, man, I've been in third this entire time. But yeah, it's suddenly tightened up. I mean, let's take a look at the lap times. Yeah, he was more than 2 seconds faster than James this last lap. So trying to move up quickly here, try to gain a position. This is a battle for 8th.
Yeah, he's going to try to look for advantage here, and I think he's going to do the same thing that Austin Cole was doing. I think he's just going to stay on this bumper and try to wait for a mistake. Hopefully not until the last lap, because that's when people get a little bit desperate.
Yeah, and we say that. Oh, Austin Cole went off track. Hold on, this could open this up.
This whole race just opened up right now. Everything just got pretty exciting right now.
I think they're all watching. They got tired of us talking about paint schemes. They're like, oh, we're gonna do something a little different here. As we see, Ryan Kelly has narrowed that gap behind Austin Cole less than a half second. So we've got 2 battles going on right now as Ryan Kelly is searching.
Yeah, Austin might have burned off his stuff, so now this might be the advantage that Ryan Kelly was looking for that he needed. And he's, this is the part of the track that he was a little bit better at, where he had to have the first part of the track. So we'll see if Austin can kind of strengthen his lead again, because right now we're getting ready to get to the part where he had the advantage. Yeah,
Austin was so much better on look at this. Oh, I was about to say, Ryan drove it in there really hard, but his exit suffered because of it.
Yeah, I think that's where Austin had the first advantage there, is that bus stop. And I think that's the only part that Ryan is missing right now. Part of his game is just that bus stop. I think if he can get that bus stop down and get a good run through, I think he has the rest of this advantage, because he's closing in on Austin again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he loses on the exit of the bus stop. Takes a little while to regain the momentum, but then it looks like he's got if not an advantage, at least equaling him everywhere else.
Yeah, and he's on his draft right now. He's going to try to probably drive it in deep right now, run a little bit wide on this turn, I would assume, if he wants to carry that advantage. So yeah, just a little bit wide, a little bit in the red and yellow, and he's going to come right back. So he's going to try to set himself up for a little bit of success on his next bus stop, and I think that will set himself up just a little bit better. I think as long as he can get that bus stop, he'll be right back on his bumper.
Yeah, if anything, I think he needs to try to back the corner up a little bit, because it's clear that, sure, he was able to drive it in pretty hard, but he's going to have to maximize that exit. He definitely seems to have done that this time.
Yeah, a little bit of squirrely, hit the bumps just a little bit, but I think a lot better of a run right there. So they're coming through another lap car, and hopefully he doesn't get too much in the way. I think we're going to be just fine, but a little even there. I think a little bit even. So I think that advantage will go to Ryan now that he's able to back that off. So now he can kind of focus on nailing the rest of this track.
Yeah, that was much better exit of the bus stop. So we'll have to see if he can, narrow that gap. But look, I mean, it's one thing to catch someone; it's another thing to pass them. We'll have to see once he catches them if he'll have enough to get around him.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm trying to go back and forth between that battle and the one that Richard and James is having, as they're right next to each other, bumper to bumper. As Richard would have a really great run out of the bus stop, and these guys are they're on it.
Yeah, side by side, Ryan Kelly, Austin Cole. Ryan Kelly on the outside. If he can hold it here, oh no, he's not be able to. I was gonna say,
close.
Yeah, if he could have pulled that off, if he could have held next to him side by side on the outside there, that would have quickly become the inside. But not quite worked out for him. I don't know if he's gonna get another opportunity, but we'll see.
Yeah, that might have been his only advantage, as we're coming to 1 to go. I think we're going lap 39. We're going to be on lap 40 here soon. So, we haven't really talked about Sebastian so much, but I think he's already in victory lane.
Yeah.
Just waiting, smoking a cigarette. But, we're talking about second place right now. But, not to take anything away from Sebastian. He's just done so well that we haven't really much to talk about.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm going to try to, I always try to focus on the leader when they cross start-finish line. So we'll try to switch over to him as he gets there. But we've actually got a battle here. So trying to keep focused on that. And, you know, I do want to, while we're waiting on that, you know, I do want to point out back here, Richard Burney is still fighting with James Ledford. As I switched, suddenly got it a lot tighter. But I'm going to go back up to our lead again because this is getting close. Hey, suddenly battles everywhere.
Yeah, we're on our last lap, and I don't even know where Sebastian's at right now. I think Sebastian's coming around the last couple corners, so this race might be over in the next 20 seconds for at least for Sebastian's sake.
Yeah, you know, I'm Sebastian, we'll give you a shout out when we do the checkered flag. We'll give you a shout out in post race, but we're gonna keep an eye on this battle here because I can't do side by side. So we'll see if Ryan Kelly's gonna be able to make a move here because he's put himself in position.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna have to dive on the here, so I think Austin's definitely gonna have to close the inside and not let him get the advantage here. So this is gonna be a really late move that I think he's gonna have as he takes the outside. If he can make it stick around the outside and get that inside advantage, which doesn't seem like he has it.
No.
He has one last chance right here. It might maybe a bump and run.
No, I don't think he's gonna be quite close enough. And Austin Call is gonna pull it off. Wow.
Very fun finish to that race.
What a finish. That was good times right there. So let's pull up our got Sebastian Marin here. Sorry we didn't get to watch you do a burnout there, but let's pull up our race results if it will let us. I don't think it will yet because we're still waiting on the last few people to come through. Gabe Butler's through. Kevin Freese, we're watching. There he goes. And now we should be able to pull up our results. All right, finishing in first, Sebastian Marin, followed by Austin Call. In third is Ryan Kelly, and in fourth, Steve Korosek. Fifth is Matt Wagner, and sixth, Gabe Butler. Seventh is Kevin Freese, and eighth, James Ledford. Ninth, Richard Bernius, and in 10th, Eric Laurie. 11th, Josh Laston, and 12th, Chris Piscini. And in 13th, that guy, Chris Matthews.
Woo!
Let's how about we bring up our third place of Ryan Kelly? If I can find him. Is he even?
I'm not sure he's in Discord right now.
I don't think he is. Okay. Well, we don't have Austin Call either, do we?
No, I think these guys probably talk to themselves in their own Discord. Looks like we're only going to be able to talk to the race winner.
All right, let's pull up Sebastian Marin then. Hey, Sebastian, it's Chris and Carl in the booth. Get a copy?
I got you.
What can we say other than that was a completely dominant performance? How did it feel out there just, completely dominating that race like that?
To be honest, it was I wasn't even thinking about the competition. I was just trying to hang on and keep the car on track because boy was this car hard to drive. I mean, you had to like feather it basically the whole way around the track, so super sketchy. Obviously very proud of the performance that I had today, especially I don't think I'm the greatest at road racing, so it definitely feels pretty good to have a performance like I did today, but still proud to bring it home, but I'm already looking forward to next week.
Yeah, you're not the best road racer, and you had like a 30-second win. But I've got to ask you, earlier in the race, we saw a battle between you and your teammate when he was trying to stay on the lead lap, and you guys had some contact. Curious what team chat was like during that.
We were just messing around, having a good time. To be honest, I wasn't even trying to hit him, and he wasn't brake checking me or anything. I just didn't expect him to be that slow out of the bus stop, and I nicked him. And you know how easy these cars are whenever you make contact, they spin out really fast. So yeah, a little bit of contact, but no harm, no foul, nothing bad. We were just laughing it off. Obviously, if he kept doing it and costing me more time, then at some point I would be a little upset. But I was so far ahead by that point, I wasn't too upset, and there was a long way to go. And then he let me by that point. So, just having fun with my teammate there.
Yeah, definitely. You had a 34 second lead by the time you took the checker flag, and then if you didn't have the shenanigans with the lap car there, if your teammate, it probably would have been more. So you almost had a half a lap on these guys. At any point where you just kind of just chilling with one hand, trying to see if you could shift and brake with the opposite foot, just trying to mess around there. It seemed like you had a nice little chill drive. You had every advantage in the world. Were you trying anything different to see what you could and could not make work with the car?
To be honest, those last couple laps, I kind of wanted to see what my gap could stretch it. I'm like, oh, let's see if I could push the envelope. But I was having issues with my pedals. My stand, I guess something that's connecting the stand where like the pedal plate where the pedals are connected to the little stand. It was rolling forward sometimes. So sometimes on the brakes, I would have no idea if the pedal was gonna slide forward or not. So I had to back off the pace quite significantly. You could probably see every now and then I would be a second to 2 seconds slower because the pedal would just slide forward. So I would have to grab it with my toes and pull it back. So like you said, yeah, if I didn't have that spin and if I didn't have any throttle issues, maybe I could have lapped up to third, or maybe even lapped the whole field. But who knows? It was still a very fun race. Uh, I wasn't really experimenting with the lines because nothing really worked, especially with this car. It was just so on edge that if you just went offline a little bit, the car would just want to spin out.
Well, so I have to ask you, you've mentioned a few times about, how tricky the car was to drive, and obviously, I mean, we're looking at lap times, and you laid down the fastest lap of the race. Your fastest lap was a minute 10 and a half, so a second and a half faster almost than the rest of the field. How were you able to strike that balance between, I can't, obviously I don't feel like tire wear was that big of a deal, but there's always that chance of, overdriving it and spinning out or something. How are you striking that balance between, like, I want to lay down fast laps, but I also, can't screw up?
It's knowing the limits, knowing where the boundaries are. So once you get in a rhythm, you kind of just, get in a rhythm, get in a different mindset, and just kind of roll with it. So once you find the limits, which is what I was doing, I kind of just kept, in my head, kept braking there, trying to be consistent, and the car kept stopping at the same spot throughout the run, no matter the tire wear. So just not overdriving it, just brake when where the limit of the car is, and don't try to push it, and just kind of let the car do its own thing. Don't try and battle it too hard, because if not, you'll start fighting the wheel too much, and then the car will start getting out of shape, and then it'll be a handful after that. So yeah, just knowing the boundaries, not overstepping them, and just being nice and easy and patient on throttle, especially with this car.
Right on. Well, we'll give you a chance here. Do you have any shout outs you want to make before we let you go?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to my teammates, Gabe, Kevin, Steve, and Eric Laurie. We're just having a lot of fun in there, just messing around. Just love having a good time, just driving this car, something different. And give a shout out to you guys for putting on this broadcast. We'll probably be rewatching the broadcast once it's over back in our chat. So thank you guys for what you do, and thank Era 51 for putting on this league and letting us drive these fun machines.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Congratulations on a big win. I have a feeling we'll probably see you in the broadcast booth again in a week. But have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
All right, that was our winner, Sebastian Marin. All right, well, that will do it for us for tonight. Want to give you some reminders of some events we have coming up. Obviously, Sunday night, it will be me and someone. Not sure who will be joining me in the booth yet, but Sunday night for the Area 51 Super Speedway Series with the Xfinity car. Should be a lot of fun. And also want to point out, this is not for Area 51, but June 21st, next Wednesday, Green White Checker TV will be broadcasting a very special race in honor of Steve Gottschalk, someone who was very special to us all. He broadcast for this league, has raced in this league, has raced in many leagues, and has many friends throughout, multiple leagues. So we hope you'll tune in and watch that, as we'll have lots of drivers from many leagues, joining here. So that'll do it for us for tonight. On behalf of myself, Chris Matthews, and the entire Green White Checker crew, I want to say thank you for watching. So long, and have a good night.